Someone shot the food.
This phone exercise remote provides now. Wow. The new Samsung Galaxy S21 is on Verizon 5G Ultra Wideband. Available in stores in many cities. Ridiculous. Buy Samsung Galaxy S21 plus 5G. Get one on us. Only on Verizon.
Light force flooding out.
Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, February the 8th, 2021, and welcome back to your Mr. Video Games Live Super Show. And I should probably update the name of the stream, shouldn't I? Let me add that in, because I forgot, because Slacker Kite here was being a slacker and forgot what fucking time it was, and was sitting there playing a new video game, which I guess is a sign what my life has become. I'm off this week though, which is exciting because I can actually, ironically, focus on the stream, doing some stuff with the community. Despite the fact I was totally not ready for the stream today, but Merowyn will be with us later once she gets off of work. They're keeping her late yet again, but we do have good boy Brian here with us, as always. Wonder Boy, welcome to the show.
What's up? I'm here. I am somewhat energetic. I totally don't have back pain or anything like that. I don't. I'm good. My body's not falling apart.
Sorry for the clickety clack. I'm just going to fill in some information here. How was the stream you did over the weekend? The charity.
Yes. So for those that don't know, I was part of a charity fundraising virtual event over the weekend related to my work with pro wrestling. It was called We Speak Out. It was put up by the people behind the upcoming documentary all about the history of LGBTQ pro wrestling out in the ring. I basically Saturday and Sunday they did 12 hours of virtual panels featuring like nearly 100 different um, LGBTQ pro wrestlers, allied pro wrestlers, people within the industry, um, as well as some other people outside of the industry and a few select people from wrestling media, myself included. And that was really fun. I got to spend an hour with Reese Indigo and Perry Von Vicious, two outstanding pro wrestling personalities from your neck of the woods, actually.
Oh,
I
really?
believe Reese is in Toronto,
Whoa.
if I'm not mistaken, and Perry wrestles a lot with the company out of Maine called Limitless Wrestling. So he's over there in the New England area also.
Yeah,
So
that's a hot minute away from me, but not like it was a hot minute when I lived in Georgia, or your hot minute, which is, let's drive for 3 days solid and, maybe eventually sleep.
yes, exactly. No, but it was fun. Like, we had fun for 24 hours through this weekend and raised some money for both the documentary as well as the Matthew Shepard Foundation. Um, which, for those that don't know, the Matthew Shepard Foundation was one of the organizations behind establishing the hate crimes bill.
Oh,
So they do a lot of work with trying to um, erase hate throughout the world. So yeah, we raised money there, talked about some queer pro wrestling, and I ended up having there was a little bit of chat about video games here and there, but mostly it was just just chopping up a little bit about in ring stuff. So I don't know, it was fun. It was a blast. They have an auction and raffle still going on right now, so if you wanted to donate, um, I can drop links to that. They have some ring worn stuff from some wrestlers that's available in the auction and different items and stuff there for the raffle as well. So I don't know. It was fun. I had a blast, and it was a good thing to distract me from that stupid football game that we won't talk about anymore. Um,
Yeah, it wasn't a good lineup to begin with. Both of the teams that I either really cared about winning or losing lost the week before, so fuck them both.
agreed.
And especially fuck that old ass quarterbackman. Fuck him in the ass. And I'm not even going to say his name on the show. You know what? That would be actually too nice for that man. I really hope that he stubs his toe and it never unstubs. I don't wish like death upon him. He's just a really fucking good quarterback with politics I disagree with, but just I hate his smug, handsome face. Ah!
Do you know that he got a PPP loan?
Of course he did.
Yep.
Mm.
I'm gonna stop because I'm just gonna go for an hour.
We could literally do an hour on things that will not matter in the fucking slightest to this audience, because okay,
We got plenty enough.
can I give just one mild hot take though? Like
What you
there's
got?
a whole lot of people that like, oh, the Super Bowl, why should I care about that? Well, maybe you shouldn't, you know, it's not really here nor there, but if you're gonna like shit on it for even existing and being things people wait for, um that's what the whole like hype and bullshit is, what the whole community around here is based upon, right? Like I mean neither of us love the hype train that the industry rides on, but it's literally the same fucking thing every time.
In many ways.
Yeah. Every time I hear like somebody go, "Oh, I hear the sports ball game is going on. I hope they get many points." Just a little.
Yeah. It's whatever.
You're not too
It's
good for football, I promise you.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I might be falling out of love with it, but
Understandable.
that's my own thing to deal with. Hooray!
Yeah,
Anyway,
like I feel this like with wrestling, for instance, right? Like the moment Andre the Giant died, like was the moment that I lost every like ounce of energy towards wrestling. And I've tried several times to get back into it, like especially I tried really hard to care about it during the Hollywood Hogan era, because I thought like the idea was neat of turning him into a heel.
hmm
Um, and I couldn't. And then I tried several years later. Gosh, who was the guy that made backyard wrestling like really beloved?
God, that could be anybody. There's so
That's
many
entirely
of them.
fair.
I mean, I probably the main people that did it were like M Dog, maybe New Jack to an extent, even though he was already established, and the Insane Clown Posse did a lot of stuff with it.
Fair. God,
M Dog
like
for sure though. M Dog #1.
around 2000, 2001, I also had a whole lot of friends into backyard wrestling, so those names mean a little something to me. So I tried to get into it then too, and it just never caught. Like, also the backyard wrestling scene kind of blows.
Well, I mean, yeah, but whatever. Like, I don't know. Well, plenty of people started out there and went on. Let me just put it this way: maybe you should give it another shot if I showed you a match where people use dildos as weapons,
I mean,
and there's a weapon like there's a dude in a full bodysuit who's just basically supposed to be a living sex doll.
nice, good on him.
Just
Hopefully he's
saying.
having a great time with himself. Speaking of good times, Slay the Spire came out on Android, because
Oh,
of course I had to own it for a fucking third time, right? Like, it's still the same game, since I last played, now I played a little bit with the new character. It's a character that's kind of a mystic, and the whole idea is like delayed gratification and slipping in and out of mantras to either deal double damage or triple damage, and you also take that much incoming, that sort of thing. Real fucking fun character. If you get the right hand with her, you are a beast amongst beasts. And it definitely makes the that mage robot character look like a fucking chump next to it for galaxy brain hands you can come up with. The only like negative I can really say about it is any screen wipe animation they do, at least on my phone, is just a big blank white thing.
Mm.
So I don't know if it's my personal phone, if it's a limitation of the game on the medium, uh, and it is a little bit wonky to select anything because it's so easy to fat finger a move and do the wrong thing.
Mm.
But all in all, it's Slay the Spire on mobile. Um, exactly where I wanted it to begin with, right? Because this is a game that begged to be on fucking mobile devices. I don't know if it would have done as well if it went mobile first, because nobody looks at mobile and goes, "Oh, that's a place for real fun hard games."
No,
uh,
but I mean, if you release it alongside the other places that you're releasing it, I think it'll be perfectly fine.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad to have it on my phone. I'm sure I will play around at my dentist office tomorrow, so that'll be fun. I also got lost in my own brain while playing Honey Pop, which is why the show was a few minutes late and a little disorganized, and there won't be a camera.
I was wondering. Well, there won't be a camera. I've been playing Honey Pop, huh?
Won't be a camera because I forgot to set up my office, and maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm a smelly nerd that forgot to take a shower today.
Been too busy playing that Honey Pop.
um I'm glad in one way because it's a little bit less offensive. Like, it doesn't make
Yeah.
any of those like racial jokes that were in the past. It seems to be a little less mean than the previous game. There are
Define a little less mean.
uh,
Exactly.
okay, it's still a little mean.
Okay.
Um it does make jokes at people's expenses, but they're kind of more just fun jokes. Like, one of the new characters is a stripper from the South,
Mm-hmm.
and she has literally no brain about her whatsoever. She is the dumbest dumb that ever dumbed, but it's kind of charming on her. It's kind of played like in a more fun way, like not like this person is an idiot that has no place in society. It's like, oh well, bless your heart.
What? Hmm.
the
Okay.
the biggest negative I have is the one that I think everyone already knows, is that Polly, the character, when you're setting up your game, it has other options like what difficulty rating are you going in as, Chad, normal, or incel. um
Oh, fuck them.
but
God damn it.
the last option is Polly question mark innie or outie. Mm.
Whoa.
I recognize that a lot of your fan base may be uncomfortable uh hunting the peen, as it were. Um but like I still feel really gross that you know, dumbed it down because your audience is full of man children that can't accept the fact that like this exists out there. It's a thing that happens, and
I don't know. I didn't have high hopes for any Honey Pop game, honestly. Like I joke around about the Honey Pop games, but like let's face it, like the game is made by the people that it's made for
Mhm.
in many ways, and the first game leans so heavily into trying to be edgelord that like any future games that they put out, like they almost were kind of beholden to that level of edgelord, no matter how much they had personally grown. And this is me speaking without knowing having any knowledge
Mhm.
about the developers when it comes to that. So um, I don't know. That just sounds super frustrating. And
It kind of is, and I'm not going to say like I think they did Polly okay, but there's some parts of the character that just make me go, I wish you didn't. Granted, every character in the game is supposed to be, a representative of a certain fetish. So, like, I don't know. It's hard for me to be terribly mad at the game itself. It definitely,
so, real quick,
yeah,
don't mean to cut you off, but whenever you're referring to, because like I am not like I have really looked into anything around this game really. So when you say Polly, is Polly a character?
yeah. Polly is one of the characters that you are attempting to bang.
Okay,
Um,
so in that instance, whenever you're choosing, you choose Audi, what they are calling Audi or any
yeah.
for Polly specifically.
For Polly specifically, are you okay with Polly having a peen, or should she just be a
Oh
cis lady?
wow, fuck them.
Yeah,
Fuck them even harder for that. Like, god damn it. Like, if you're gonna write a trans character, then write a trans character. Don't fucking sit there and give people. This is the same issue that I had with the people making that mod for Cyberpunk, where they turned God, her name escapes me at the moment. Where they turned a character from lesbian to bi so that they could romance her as a male in the game. Like fuck that shit. Like make choices and stick to them. Don't kowtow to to your bullshit and make people's identities waver on the whims of whoever is controlling the game.
yeah.
Like that's just frustrating.
I'm not in love with it, but like the gameplay actually, um, so the premise is very thin, and for obvious reason, it's a jokey joke game. What you're doing is apparently there is a sleeping entity that wakes up every 10,000 years and must either fuck or destroy the world. And hey, you seduced people last time, and there's two of them, so you're gonna have to go have a whole bunch of threesomes now in order to prepare for going up against these two. Okay, whatever. It's a very thin idea, but it actually makes the gameplay a lot better. Because you're trying to do your match three against two different people, and you can't always focus on the same person. They have stamina meters, they have their own preferences, they have, you will give them different gifts, so they will react differently, and each one will have what they call baggage. It's just a way that they react differently to what you're doing. Like, one of them may not allow you to use red tokens until you clear some sort of set boundary or something. So it's probably the most compelling match three game I've ever played. And I hate that the most compelling match three game I've ever played is in this shell.
Yeah.
Which is exactly why like I was late for the show because I zoned out and was just playing the match three game. Um, Actually, like in 5 hours of playing, I literally saw two whole sexy pictures, so it's very cut down from the overtness in the last game, which
I mean, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it just is. It's a little calmer. It's a little. It's a little nicer to the characters that you're going up, against. And people mostly get along in this game. Nobody really is, the like mean to anybody. There's not a whole lot of, edge lord bullshit in the game. It's a much nicer game, but it still is a little cringy.
No, I mean it definitely sounds cringy as
Yeah.
fuck to me personally. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to go too much longer with this one because I think I'm just going to devolve into like pointing out all
Yeah, I
like the
think
flaws
this
in it.
is a
And we have much
game
other stuff to get to.
this is a game you would be pissed at, but Merowyn I think would have fun with.
Yeah.
I think it's on that level of like if you're willing to space out a bit and not think about it, but once you think about it, you really feel gross and don't want to touch it again.
Yeah. I mean, just the fact that they call like the restrictions in certain matches baggage, like fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck. That just frustrates me. That's just very like ableist bullshit that they can just eat a dick all the way down.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the comedy is very edgelord centrist. They never really make fun of anybody in a way that is like, this person isn't worth fucking living because they have depression. It's just, this person has it and that's part of what comes along with them. Meh. But yeah, it's not worth giving a whole lot of time to. I'm just saying if you enjoy this kind of game, it's not bad and the mechanics are really fun, but like I don't recommend the game for the overarching narrative. So there you go. Hey Spoon, how you doing, buddy? You ready to get into actual news?
Yes, I am. Considering I can't talk about the medium because my computer did not want to run the medium. Let's
Yeah, let's get right
let's get
into it.
into the
Oh,
news.
I started the stream on stream ending. That's what Nomi meant earlier. I'm very good at running things today. Holy shit. This is my first day off of work, and I'm already fucking things up. Anyway,
It's okay. We're about to head into news anyway, so
yeah, fuck it. Who cares?
yeah.
Let's drop
These
right
things
into
happen.
it. So there's a couple of lawsuits now. Valve is no stranger to lawsuits whatsoever. It's just interesting that this week a whole lot of stuff has come up at the same time. Um, so the first lawsuit uh, blames Valve for price gouging. One of the few things Steam does that I would say is positive for consumers, really, is the fact that um, they also list the cost of the game on other platforms. And give you a more of an idea of what it's about. But this lawsuit is coming along explicitly because of that, requiring the different things may make people want to purchase more on Valve. Um, and Valve has had so many lawsuits before claiming that they are attempting to manipulate the market to be the only entity in the market, that I just kind of stare at this lawsuit and go, just really like, especially now where we have Epic, we have GOG actually being something that people really talk about and care about. Fuck, we even have Amazon and Twitch having a pretty decent hold on how games are delivered to people. I don't understand this lawsuit. Does it make any sense to you, Brian?
It does in exactly what it is pointing out in Steam's contracts that kind of points to. I won't go so far as to say price fixing because it's not that per se, but basically the lawsuit points to the most favored nations provision that's in Steam distribution agreements, that every publisher or developer that signs up to sell on Steam signs, um, which basically says that you can't sell a game on any other storefront for less than what it sells on Steam.
Hmm.
So, and it should be noted that this lawsuit is being brought by individuals, not by any of the developers or publishers that signed that agreement. This is being brought by 5 individuals. Um,
Yeah, like it doesn't stop you from having sales on other platforms, and usually games across platforms are going to sell at the same price anyway.
True, but I mean, there are some instances where, like, if you bought something wholesale from, like, there are games that I know of that where the publisher or the developer have like self-published on their own website as well as on Steam. And sometimes you can sometimes get a cheaper price by going directly to the developer in that way, and or rather, not. I said Steam earlier.
Hmm.
I've seen it where people have done that with Itch,
Yeah.
with itch.io, where you can go straight to a developer and get a cheaper version of the game through that. So like there is some credence to that, being able to feel like you want some flexibility in setting up your own prices, finding other ways to sell the game, you know, not just through Steam, even though Steam does dominate the platform.
Hmm.
Um, but what the complaint here though, in regards to that, is that it basically fixes the price, um, so that it keeps other platforms from being competitive because they can't change the price,
Hmm.
based off of the agreement. Which, I mean, there is some credence to that point. It's just a matter of like it's a very nuanced thing. And it's one of those things where, like, if as consumers suing a company for having that clause in there, it takes a different vantage point than if you were, say, a small publisher who wanted to have their game on the Epic Game Store and sell it for a little bit cheaper. Because Epic Game Store, you get a larger cut of the of sales over there as opposed to Steam. So you could probably lower the price and still make the same amount that you would get from Steam on the Epic Game Store, selling it at that lower price. So it's just interesting that the suit is coming from from consumers themselves as opposed to that small publisher, because for the consumer it only impacts how we buy the game. So like it's not even necessarily a publisher wanting to try and sell their game for cheaper somewhere and getting frustrated that the contract they signed with Steam is not allowing them to do it. It's consumers basically saying that we want publishers to be able to sell their stuff to us for cheaper if they want to create like the competitive price, um, sort of thing that we see in non-monopolistic industries.
Hmm.
So basically, in layman's terms, they are using this clause to allege that Steam is doing monopolistic practices, which there have been plenty of things to point to with Steam that look a lot like monopolistic practices. I don't know how far this complaint itself is going to go. I'm curious to see though, because from a consumer standpoint, it's an odd one to take on, I would say.
It's definitely a
Um,
weird one. Like on some levels it's kind of nice. On other levels, I could see where the problem is. Like if this had been Epic or GOG or Humble issuing a lawsuit to Steam over this, I would be a little bit more understanding, because that would mean that it's somewhere like negotiations had fallen through. But this just sounds like a bunch of gamers that were hoping that they would find it for cheaper on other places to me.
yeah. Yeah, and that's why I wonder, like, exactly how this is going to play out, considering that the plaintiffs are consumers. That it's not another site or a publisher or anybody like bringing this to the forefront. It should be noted also that this all comes like very shortly after the EU um, fined Valve for geo blocking the sale of certain games
Hmm.
over in Europe. So, like, there's definitely some issues with Valve business practices, and I'm not saying that me like expressing any doubt around exactly how this is going to play out, or like the standing that the plaintiffs have in bringing this case. Um, that does not color any of my opinion around Steam, in that like they have some serious business practices that need addressing. And like it's just one of those things where like they need to be kind of held in check a little bit, and
Yeah.
I'm glad that there are some people willing to do that. And this is exactly what the Epic Game Store and GOG were kind of created for, in a way, just to kind of push some of this stuff, push these business relationships in the right direction. Because like let's not forget, like Steam still hasn't really adjusted its um profit sharing,
Right.
its revenue sharing, rather, its revenue sharing standards since Epic launched. So I don't know. I'm curious to see where this goes. I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 on whether I think this is going to have any real traction, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. There is a lot that I look at Steam and go, they have a lot of business practices that I disagree with. Um and this one has nuance to it. It's not one of the things that I look at Steam and go, I do have problems with these practices. But yeah, I don't know. Right now, I have more trouble looking at Steam and going, well, they're not being fair. Um, I think there is a lot of fairness that they still need to work out better, but this doesn't feel like it, Chief. I guess is what I'm getting to. But they also have a lawsuit that just completed over its controller, specifically the Steam, uh, the Valve PC controllers that they put out that nobody even ended up actually wanting, besides apparently myself. I would say that the Steam controller is probably the best way to play Civilization 6, but I digress. Um, Actually, I clicked the wrong link and went to exactly where we're going after this. My bad. So now you know where I'm going to end up with this argument in the first place. Regardless, Valve is paying $4 million in damages over this lawsuit over its use of back buttons on the controller itself, which um, I find it weird when people put copyrights on button placement, and there's another one that is obvious we're going to speak on later that we will get to. I thought about putting it here, but it's basically the other large story to talk about right now. But I've never understood the copyright on button placement and button functionality. It's a controller. It can only do so many things unless you're adding in special things like gyroscopic movement or haptic vibration, things along those lines. I understand somebody has to have a patent on that because that's technology that had to really be worked out. Amazon is the worst about this sort of thing. They have a patent over one-click payments, which is why you go to other websites and you have to confirm before you pay. Rather than on Amazon, you can just click a thing and pay for it automatically. Somehow, clicking a button once is something that could be copyrighted. And that's bullshit, I think. But such a simple functionality to pay millions of dollars for a thing that they didn't even stick with in the first place feels frivolous to me. I absolutely understand the situation, but I hate that it exists within this market so hard.
I mean, this one to me feels like it has more credit than what we're going to talk about later on in the show,
Mm,
just because it is a tangible thing that you hold in your hand
yeah,
in a way. But at the same time, like, yeah, it's very, very into the minutia of the patent. Um, when it comes to that. But at the same time, like they got it approved by the patent office, and like Valve was just like, "No, we're just going to carry on with this thing." Despite y'all telling us in 2014 that y'all had a patent on this stuff, like, nah,
Mhm.
fuck it. So, like, good on Ironberg
Yeah,
for
like,
keeping on this.
absolutely, if you literally went to Steam and said, hey, we have a patent on this, you should give us a few monies. And let's face it, $4 million is not a whole lot of money for Valve to be dishing out. This isn't something that's really going to break them, but this really gives you an idea of the odd minutia in gaming of things that can be patented. Like, I forget which company it is that has the patent on putting mini games in loading screens. So you don't really. I think it was Namco that did that.
I think it was.
But either way, a lot of fucking weird things have patents on them that don't feel like should have patents because they're such a generalized application. And a back button feels like a very generalized application of the use of a button. But hey, if the copyright courts decreed that this was, a functioning copyright that should be in use, then yeah, that's the law. I'm not mad about it. I just hate the state of copyright in America.
Well, I mean, it should be noted also that like Ironberg is perfectly fine with working with people whenever it comes to implementing that technology into their controllers. Case
Mm,
in point, the Xbox Elite controller
yeah.
added that stuff because Microsoft licensed it from them.
Yep.
Like, if you just wanted to sign a licensing deal, Valve, you could have completely like circumvented all of this, but Valve just wanted to be Valve. And also to confirm, it was Namco, and that patent expired in 2015.
Oh, nice. Glad to
So
hear
now
that.
anybody can put mini games in their loading screens.
God, that is my one that I keep going back to as one of the goddamn dumbest things. It ruined the PlayStation era because how many games had loading screens that you sat in for like 2 to 3 minutes? It matters so much less now because loading screens are maybe 5 to 8 seconds long, but Jesus Christ.
For you.
Fair. But hey, it's not really too much of a worry. I already loaded this article before. And by the way, thank you, Vicky Blake over at Eurogamer. Steam has recorded the most concurrent users at the same time at 26.4 million users. As you can see by this chart, quarantine has been very good for Steam. Unsurprisingly to anybody, it dipped a bit last summer when people went outside for a little while and then went right back to climbing. So they'll be fine. Do not cry for Microsoft. They paid what, like $4 million against 26 million users, and I imagine most of those users have put in a you know probably less than 100 in total, like on average, but they're fine. It's fine. This is a $1 billion institution.
You got me curious now to see what Valve's net worth is.
Yeah, actually, I wouldn't mind knowing that information.
Well, according to Bloomberg, they were valued at $10 billion as of March 2019.
Holy fuck.
So
I would wonder if the existence of Epic has changed that at all, or if they just continue to be the main marketplace, which they very clearly are the main marketplace. So do they continue to have a dominant hand, and with COVID, etc., has the marketplace just grown enough that it doesn't matter for their bottom line? I always wonder about these weird financial things that nobody else gives a fuck about. Either way, that's the lawsuits going on with Valve. There's been so many lawsuits. There will continue to be lawsuits with Valve because that is how Valve live. Wow, I really messed up all of our links here, didn't I? Regardless,
No, you're good. It looks fine to me.
let's see. For PC Gamer, Natalie Clayton writing, there was a going back in time. If you had an N64, the chances are you had GoldenEye on said N64, or you had a friend that had it. And the number of GoldenEye matches that I must have played was absolutely astronomical. Well, a late build of it, clearly not ready for prime time, but still in existence, has leaked out to the internet. You too can emulate this if you so desire. It is basically a one-to-one remake with better graphics, some fixes here and there. And I mean, it's just Xbox 360 level graphics. I'm pretty sure there are already high-res GoldenEyes out there online, but this one was going to actually be a real release that was going to happen that got held back because of the fights over copyright, considering Nintendo and the filmmakers licensing the music, licensing the rights of the people that are in this game was huge. So it just never got released, but finally seeing a physical, in whatever mean, like something you can actually interact with is really interesting, because this was the talk of the town for a period of time before it was canceled.
Yeah, this is a fun little time capsule that I may or may not be in the process of trying to find. There's some allegedly.
Allegedly.
So, but no, this is just it's really interesting to have something like this pop back up after being lost to time in the way that it was.
I'm going to tell you outright, I never played the single-player campaign in GoldenEye ever. I played a fucking million multiplayer matches, but I never played the single-player campaign. I know it was good. I just never did.
It's fun. I don't know if I would go back and play it right now on N64, but you know, I don't know. It was fun. I liked it, and what I really like about this remaster though that they were working on is that apparently there's there's a one button toggle where you can toggle between the updated graphics and the N64 graphics.
Yeah.
That's
so
just
cool.
rad as a mechanic to have in
And
a
this would have
remake.
come out before, like, the Monkey Island remake and several others that came out that did that and actually published, right? Where you had the same one-to-one graphics that you could toggle between the old graphics and the new graphics.
Exactly.
So that's
This would have
really
been the first
fucking
of its
cool.
kind. Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of makes me want to don ye pirate hat and find it. I mean, there's a question mark on the legality of this, right? Because you're not really supposed to have it, but it's also a game that no one would have made money on in the first place because it's not a game that actually exists. And an emulator itself is legal. It is the ROMs for the emulator that are very much on the illegal side. Unless you own a copy, even then, there is dubiousness to that claim. I own a copy, this is for backup. Let's not get into that. That's a whole fucking kettle of fish that is awkward at best. But this is just neat. I've watched a bit of it. It's fun. Now, this kind of, like, begs the question for me. Like, I have seen people on Twitter that have been like, I know this is a time where there's not a lot coming out. This is a great time to hit up your backlog.
Yeah.
How? How? Hitman 3 recently came out. Controlled Ultimate Edition, Medium, ReZero. Mario 3D World is just about to come out. Little Nightmare 2. Holy
Yep.
hell. This is a good time to be a video game person.
A lot out there.
I do find it interesting too which games Metacritic are willing to mention and which ones aren't. It kind of tells you a lot about where Metacritic lies on the if you don't sell more than 1 million copies, they could give less than fuck that you even exist. But still, even in the AAA market,
Oh, I forgot there was a new Galgun game coming out. Great.
yep, coming out this Friday.
Great. I remember that now because I looked up. I was talking to my partner about Galgun as a franchise and how weird it was, and they didn't know what it was. So I looked up. I searched for Galgun on YouTube, and the trailer for that anniversary new game is what I found. And then I realized at the end of it that it was a trailer for a new game, and I'm like, what the fuck? God damn it, Galgun.
Myself, I have to finish the games that I'm playing right now because I'm going to play Super Mario 3D World. I have messed around with bits and pieces of it, but it's the last Wii U title that functionally matters to hit the Switch, and I'm excited for it. Other than Switch had a few of its own remakes that looking at you Prime series release that we all hope will hit, but that's there.
Yeah.
Also, in fun news, the lady of my dreams, Jamie Lee Curtis, thank you, Matt Wells from Eurogamer, is coming to the cast of Borderlands, which is an interesting take. I know very little about the characters in the game, so I know next to nothing about Tannis. But having Jamie Lee Curtis in your movie is an instant, okay, I'm willing to listen now move. So, yeah, hard for me to complain.
I mean, Jamie Lee Curtis is cool. I don't know why she's attaching herself to a movie directed by Eli Roth
Mhm.
because he's a fucking trash bag. But whatever. Like people that want a Borderlands movie, you're probably gonna get a Borderlands movie, and y'all will certainly enjoy that. While I will not care.
Yeah, like, I may end up watching this now, because, like, between Kate Blanchett and Jamie Lee Curtis, you've piqued my interest enough that I'll at least give it a try. I'm not expecting a lot out of it, but it feels like one of those things like if I'm going to do a podcast show about video games, at least poke your nose into so you can have an opinion. And
Maybe.
that's where I stand on it. I'll watch it because video games.
Yeah.
Man, honestly, kind of flying through some of these stories today. I apologize for anyone wanting a full, fleshed out super show today, but I do remind everyone that tomorrow come back again because we will be finishing the Last of Us 2 spoiler cast. God fucking help us. We're going to finish it tomorrow. And then I'll come back Wednesday and going to show off some Maiden and either play Hades or Slay the Spire. I haven't really decided yet what I'll play, but just like a thank you stream for our amazing community. Maybe if some people want to jump in and chat with me while I'm playing it, I definitely don't mind the idea. So we'll see. That'll be coming up soon. Anyway, back to actual story time past the plugging. Mass Effect Legendary Edition is coming out relatively soon. And they're tweaking a few things. Now, I never played any of the Mass Effect games. So I'm just going based upon what I have heard from people in the community. that the camera had a tendency to just kind of idle in really odd and awkward places, especially around female posteriors. Um,
Yo, they like to show butts. They like to
yeah.
show butts all the time. I love Mass Effect. I played those games multiple times through all three of them.
Mm.
That game has a thing about like just like framing on butts, and it was really weird.
Yeah, like this picture right here, I guess, tells you a whole story. If you're having a serious conversation, as it looks like this seems to be a serious conversation, and you're just arced right in there on what is a very nice polygonal butt here going on. It's a well made video game butt. I'm not complaining about the butt itself, but from what I gather, it kind of makes some of the story trying to be very serious face not quite as serious.
No, and honestly, it just basically worked to objectify a lot of its characters, specifically Miranda.
Hmm.
Like it did a lot of those, a lot of the butt framing whenever Miranda was talking, or you were talking to Miranda, and um, for a game that a major talking point around that series, even into Andromeda, was all about like all the different people you could bang and
Hmm.
all the different people that you could romance and stuff like that. Like it just doesn't it never sits well whenever you spend so much time talking about who players would want to fuck in your game, and then you're also framing like female presenting butts or female identifying people. They're like you're framing their butts
Hmm.
in the way that you are. Like it's just it's very male gazy, even down
Does
to like some of the animation stuff that they were doing with FemShep. Like, you know, there's another piece in here where they're talking about shots where because they use a single animation for both male and female shepherds, like you would have instances in the screenshot there where your FemShep is sitting wearing a dress with her legs just like spread completely fully, like a dude just sitting down on the subway.
hmm.
Um, and just like no real, I like always treating like the male shepherd's movements and how they would and how he would move as the norm. And so like it's really addressing a lot of the stuff around how they frame female bodies in the game.
Does it
And good
never
on
frame
them.
male butts in the similar fashion, or
Not really.
that's a shame.
No. Like it's all it like I said, it's very male gazy. It's very male as default when it comes to the game. And like and I love Mass Effect, but there were flaws and faults that needed addressing, and I'm glad that somebody is addressing them with the remaster.
I'm not gonna lie, like most of the reason that I never really got into the game was every time I hear a conversation about Mass Effect, it tends to go along the lines of, so, who you gonna fuck? And that's awkward to me, just as hell. Not my voice leading into the microphone like that, but just framing the game around fuckability is such a strange concept to me. And maybe that's a little bit biased because I've lived with Hollis for a while. So I've heard a lot of the conversation vis-a-vis someone who cares quite a lot for the posterior.
Yeah.
So I don't know if
And
my view is biased here.
well, no, the thing is like with Mass Effect and with video games as a whole, there is a effective and healthy way to like visualize sexuality and to express sexuality in a visual medium like that. But this ain't it. This never really was it. And don't even get me started on the fact that they removed like Jack's identity as a pansexual person
Yeah.
from Mass Effect 2 because Fox News blew back on them for having the gay romance in the first game. So like Mass Effect has its own history with this treatment of different sexual orientations and different identities, and also how it portrays the bodies of the identities that are within it to differing levels. So I'm glad that they are addressing it in some way.
Mm.
Like I know, like they said, like they are not able to go back and change everything to make it perfect, but they can try and change stuff to make it better. And like that's a good step. Just remember that whenever you're making the next Mass Effect game.
Yeah, I'm okay. So when I play Hades, for instance, a lot of the dialogue in the fan community is around the sexuality of the characters, but when you play the game itself, the dialogue, sex is just one of the many things. The game's core dialogue, the game wants to tell you, is based around the question of all of the different types of relationships people can have, your platonic relationships, um, your sapphic relationships, etc. There are so many different types of relationships, and Hades explores all of them. Whenever I hear somebody try to generalize it down to this is a game about fucking, um, I kind of wince a little bit because the game has so much more to fucking talk about other than being horny on main, but that seems to be the main talking point.
I mean, I understand why in that way, but also like horny on main doesn't necessarily mean like fucking to me. Like at the
Mm,
same time, like they're two different things. And also like in Hades, like you have that exploration of different relationships in the same way that Mass Effect does to a different extent, not to the same extent by far, but to some extent. It is very much about developing relationships with the people that you're running around trying to save the galaxy with. But it does so at the same time with objectifying and normalizing a treatment of female bodies that is inherently male
mm.
in its theory in a way that Hades doesn't. Hades just like made a bunch of characters that everybody can be horny on main for various different reasons, no matter how you identify, and that sort of thing, and just let people have free reign of that without really succumbing to the same levels of like visual objectification
Hmm.
that many other video games do. So
Yeah, I think that was honestly refreshing seeing a bit of like exploration in the concepts, and a lot of people in the game are very much aware and worry about consent with each other, and that's something that's almost never discussed in a video game ever. I could go off on a long tangent about how amazing the character Dusa in the game is to me, but we could do a podcast some other time about that sort of thing. Not right now. This is a news show, not hey, Travis goes off and editorializes for a while. All right. The other big story that, hey, I alluded to a bit earlier, and thank you, Zach Sweezen over at Kotaku. Could, WB Games has been attempting to patent the Shadow of Mordor Nemesis system for a while, which blows my mind that a system where you basically say that your characters have opinions and want to do things either with you and some people dislike you, that they're patenting the AI behind it. It makes a little bit more sense in the way that they currently patented it, but it still is fucking weird that you can do this sort of thing to me. Now, the article does go into explaining some things that would still be fine. Other games where maybe your character hates a certain other faction based upon how you functioned within the game, still perfectly allowed. But this is odd.
yeah, I mean, because we're talking about copywriting code basically. And while it is still a tangible thing compared to the Steam controller, um, I don't know. It's just there's just something that's more like frustrating and icky about this
Mm,
to me because effectively this puts the Nemesis system under WB's control until 2035.
right.
And I'm curious to know exactly how they finally got this patent through, because they have been denied multiple times over the past like close to 6 years, and then all of a sudden, randomly in October, like they started to finally get some positive news on it. Um, with the official announcement coming, I believe, on the third. Um, of February. So, yeah, I don't know. It just it throws into question like what exactly can you patent in this way? Because like let's face it, like video game systems are very much feed off of one another.
Hmm.
I mean, and let's be real, like Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, like the fighting systems in those games played off of other fighting systems in other games, other WB games. So I don't know. It's an interesting idea to kind of dissect. I don't know if I'm at a place where I can fully do it right now, but every time, no matter which route I go down when thinking about this, it all comes back to just a very icky feeling around what precedent this might set for other companies that develop really cool ideas, but then patent them so that only they can use them. And let's be real, if WB like patents this and they're the only ones that could use it without licensing it out to somebody else, like this could be a thing where they could build out a pretty good licensing business if other people do want to use it. Um, but at the same time, like we haven't really had that many people express that a lot of it, like, at least in dev circles, express a lot of interest in using it. Um, and it's most notable that a lot of people in the game development world expressed a lot of frustration over this news.
Hmm.
Um, let me see if I can pull it. There's a
And
some
rightfully so. This
screenshots.
isn't even as much putting a patent on code as it is putting a patent on a specific game archetype structure, right? This is putting a patent on a very specific way of having how your characters react to events and go about upcoming things. Now, I don't know if anybody really wants to do a system that close to being what Nemesis is. And I'm going to be interested in seeing how WB Games actually wields this patent, because I can't think of a single game that does the structure of interaction as this game does.
Yeah, I mean, there isn't a game that does it really. And the fact that other companies haven't really been privy to the Nemesis system itself has led them to kind of develop similar tools. Like I'm looking at an article from gamesindustry.biz right now where they point out that you know this patent really only applies to people who develop systems that include all of the aspects of the Nemesis system to a T.
Mm,
Um, like it, they point out that recent Assassin's Creed games used a system called the mercenary system,
yeah.
that is similar to the Nemesis system, but is not wholly the Nemesis system. It had enough distinct aspects to stand out when compared against it. So honestly, for WB, like yeah, they protected themselves in that it's something that they can use for their games and they could potentially build out a licensing business around it. But companies are already trying to work around work with the Nemesis system and try and develop their own ideas from it.
Hmm.
And that's not protected by the patent.
No, and it
No.
feels to me at this point like a vanity patent, so they can say we have the patented uh, Nemesis system. Like, who cares? Just one of those things they can say, this is what we have. It is so good, we were allowed a patent over it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I found some of the tweets from some game developers here, that really point to the frustrations around the patenting of the Nemesis system. This is from Mike Bithell, who's a longtime game developer, worked on various games. Um, Quote: "This is really gross, especially for a franchise that built its brilliant Nemesis system on top of a whole heap of mechanics replicated from other games. As all games do, because that's how culture and creativity works. Be a better neighbor, WB."
Yeah, this is bizarre.
Yeah, like it's really frustrating to see this happen.
I don't believe this patent should have been allowed, but you know exactly how I feel about patents. I think they're a bit overdone at this point.
Another complaint that I'm seeing from some people is that the actual patent itself um, reads very broad in how the narrative system within Nemesis um, defines itself in a way. This from Kat Manning, who's worked on multiple emergent narratives. They're a narrative designer, for God's sakes, in the industry. Um, I looked at the patent, and it's so broad as to be absurd. Multiple other emergent narrative systems that I have seen and worked on could be described with their language. It probably would not be legally enforceable, but I and other indie devs don't have the money to find out. I have zero interest in copying the Nemesis system whole cloth. Personally, there are a number of other things there I would do differently, but the patent is so broad that I'm still worried that it's a license to stop any similar work from being developed. There is the key issue here is that in how the patent defines the system compared to people that build out things that are similar to it.
Hmm.
Depending on how broad and actionable the language of the patent is, like you even if a system is able to distinguish itself from the Nemesis system. Uh, a lot of smaller developers don't have the funds to fight that battle in court. So it really disenfranchises a lot of developers from trying to push forward in what emergent narrative systems within games look like.
Yeah, if anything, it just will make people nervous about making a system be like, well, is this how similar is it to the Nemesis system? Do you think it's similar enough we can get away with it? I don't know. I don't want to go to court over that. Let's just not use it.
Yeah, and that puts everybody in very murky water when it comes to trying to develop and improve upon established narrative systems in games.
Yeah, this the best thing that could happen from this is that it's just a vanity patent that they never actually use, just use it as a marketing promotion tool, the patented Nemesis system. If they literally ever fucking use it, yeah, never. I hope they never ever actually utilize this in any meaningful way because it is dumb. It is dumb that it exists. I don't understand why they even wanted it, but here we are. They have it. Meh.
Well, they wanted it because that was the only thing that anybody really talked about those Shadow of War games about.
Hmm.
Like everything else in those games was very basic and blah for the most part, and the Nemesis system was the really only celebrated point for those games. So, like, I don't think you fight this for 5 years, um, to get it for a vanity patent. I think that they want to do something with it, whether it be in their own games, or whether it be trying to set up a licensing sort of thing, or whether just to set it up something that they can use as something that's actionable against other developers that they want to go after whenever they think that somebody's making something that's close enough to their stuff that they can sue them.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's so many different ways this could go. But I mean, let's face it, like WB doesn't have a ton of huge properties at the moment.
Right.
You know, like what are they? The best they could do is probably make another Batman game with Nemesis system in it, which would be cool, but also like, oh,
Why?
whatever. You know,
How would you even Nemesis system a Batman game?
oh, you can do it.
I
There's
guess,
ways.
but it'd be so fucking shoehorned.
Yeah.
Hey, in other gaming news, Anthem Next, the fate of Anthem will be decided this week. Thank you, Jason Schreier, over at Bloomberg, our favorite boy. Oh, hey, we're actually allowed to preview this. There will be a meeting literally this week to decide the fate of Anthem and what it will look like moving forward. Of course, Anthem came out and did not take the world by storm as they had so hoped, and they were kind of hoping to basically No Man's Sky this and turn it into something amazing and give a reason to care about Anthem. So that'll be this week. Do you have any bets on whether they are going full hog on rebuilding Anthem or just let it fall?
I really don't know because there's messaging that points to both
Mhm.
outcomes, honestly. Just the fact that they're continuing to work on it for the past year is a big thing. But also the fact that the the EP Christian Daily was moved away from the Anthem team in December. Um, puts puts some stock in the other camp in that they might just just cut up Anthem as a loss and move on. Um, at this point, like let's be real, like at this point, Anthem Next is still kind of a running joke.
Yeah,
Like, and it'd be great if they could find some way to salvage it and turn it into something that's cool. But I don't know how many people you're going to actually bring back to Anthem by putting out a better version of it, because I think a lot of people are still feel somewhat burned by it. I don't think that you're going to have a ton of people that are be curious to go back to it. Um, but at the same time, I say that, and yet I, as someone who played the original Anthem to fruition, and was vastly disappointed by it, I would I would give it a shot. Like I would be curious to see what they do, because for as much as BioWare has gotten wrong in the past 5 or so years, dating back to Mass Effect Andromeda, like they still have the ability to make some amazing stuff.
yeah,
I just think that a lot of the shakeup internally is not boding well for any type of salvaging of this title. But we'll find out at some point. I don't think that they're gonna make it. The only thing that we will know for sure coming out of this is if Anthem is gonna if Anthem Next is canceled.
right.
Because if it's canceled, there'll probably be an announcement. If they go forward with it, like we'll probably get some like report from Jason Schreier or
Mhm.
somebody else, and we'll know this going forward. But I don't know. It's one of those things where either way, I don't know if there's like a ton of excitement one way or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. How do you feel?
I actually I wasn't interested in the launch of the game, but if they want to revamp the game, that would actually be interesting to me because what it would tell me is that they have ideas that are strong enough to overcome the barrier that they have here of a game that wasn't interesting to people, if they're looking to actually overhaul the game with major plans, that would actually interest me enough to poke my head in and see what's up. I don't know if it'd be a great game that they may come through with that, but I would love to see where they go with this.
Hmm. I mean, I would be curious, like I said, but everything that they've done internally points to this basically being um, a lost cause in some ways.
Mm,
Like the fact that the team that's been working on the game is like severely understaffed, and um, EA is not one to commit a lot of means to games that they might already see as failure. You know, because
yeah.
really it boils down to EA, not BioWare.
Oh,
Like this
absolutely.
is yeah, and I honestly, knowing EA's track record, like I would not be surprised if they just cut bait,
Yeah.
which
I,
would suck for all the people that have been working for the past 18 months to try and make that game better.
yeah, that's but it does happen a lot in this industry. Like whole games are nearly done at times. We just spoke about the GoldenEye remaster, and that was years of man hours
Hmm.
rebuilding that game that are just that were lost. And there are so many games that have been announced and never saw anything come out of it. So uh, I would love to see the work of these developers really come into something tangible. And if it comes out, I'm definitely on board to at least poke it with the stick and see what I think. But um, I I don't believe myself that they will pick it up. Purely because I have no trust in EA whatsoever. I think if it were up to BioWare, they would give it a go, but I don't believe their publisher will let them do that.
Yeah.
Um, while we're on publishing, just a little heads up coming out. Thank you, Daniel Ahmed, as you can see here. Activision has said that there will be no Overwatch 2 or Diablo 4 this year. Um, I don't think it surprises anybody that Diablo 4 is not a 2021 release. I doubt it will be a 2022 release, to be honest. But that Overwatch 2 is not coming out this year does very much surprise me because Overwatch is already starting to lose a bit of its glamour at this point. So the longer they wait, the harder it is for them to come back, I think, with an Overwatch 2 and recapture that attention and get that sparkle back again into the game.
I mean, it's frustrating, but knowing how much upheaval there's been at Blizzard this year, there's not a ton of surprise,
Yeah, it's one of those, it's not
honestly.
surprising, but it is kind of disappointing.
Oh, no, I mean, it's disappointing, definitely, but I mean, I don't know. Overwatch still commands a fairly healthy player base right now.
Yeah.
I think that obviously they still have the Overwatch League in the esports sector going fairly well. The Call of Duty League was received somewhat well. I don't think either league is really matching the numbers they want them to be at right now, but Overwatch 2 is not going to improve that.
Hmm.
Um, and as long as they're still building out, I mean, they're still building out events in Overwatch. They still have new skins coming out in Overwatch. Those are selling fairly well. The game itself is still making the money that they wanted to, at least to a level that's agreeable.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm fine with them postponing Overwatch 2 right now. I think Overwatch 2 was an odd idea to begin with, honestly,
Hmm.
but it's not a bad idea. Like I was excited to see what they might do with it, and the one new mode that they showed off, I think was it 2019? Was it 2019? It was 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one new mode they showed off in 2019 like looked intriguing enough. So I don't know. Like, let them. They'll take the time. I trust them with Overwatch. If any other franchise, I trust them with Overwatch at least.
Yeah.
So
Overwatch, like I said, it's not a lol dead game by any means. It is
yeah,
still going. It is just in its declining phase. So it does need that energy, I think, to keep it going. But hey, hopefully they know better. Maybe it's not at a point at this, time where if they released it, it'd be well, they don't want a Cyberpunk 2077 is kind of what I'm getting at.
well, no, nobody does.
But hey, there'll be a new Call of Duty, so that's good for
Great.
everyone, right?
What? Yeah. Who didn't think that was happening?
All right. And oddly enough, our last full topic of the evening, I actually kind of grimace a bit dropping into this conversation, especially without Merowyn. But hey, it's part of the conversation, and thank you again, Natalie Clayton over at PC Gamer. Um, Ninja is apparently so mad at stream sniping at this point that he's thinking of quitting Fortnite. And yeah, go ahead. You have enough money, don't you, at this point, dude? You could totally quit streaming altogether. We don't really need Ninja in the streaming industry. You're getting older. Come on, don't you want to retire from gaming and maybe take care of your kids, get a job in the industry? You can do that. We don't need this, right?
I mean, why you stop? Okay, don't play Fortnite anymore. Whatever.
Yeah,
Like, I feel frustration over being stream sniped, but also like it's a it's a video game. Shut up.
yeah,
You're a
you
millionaire.
literally get paid millions of dollars per year to just play a video game and be pretty good at it.
Yeah. And also, let's put it this way: Fortnite doesn't need Ninja anymore.
No.
If he's saying this to think that he's gonna like impact like Fortnite's popularity, or like if he's doing this thing to like say something about like to Epic about stuff, like I don't know. I don't think this is directed at Epic or anything like that, but it's not going to
Yeah.
hurt Fortnite's popularity at all. And like he hasn't even like played Fortnite in forever. Like I don't know. Ninja, just play whatever you want to play. You have enough money. Like whatever, dude.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty you could do. I hear a very nice gentleman has based his entire life on playing The Binding of Isaac, so, there's plenty to go around, dude. You can do any sort of game, and there's no stream sniping in that. Just, I don't, I don't care about Ninja. I understand that he is a very, very big celebrity, and his name has a lot of clout. But I can make half a fuck about what he decides to do, who he decides he can and cannot stream with, what his opinions are. Um, I'd rather he not exist. That's
I
really
mean,
about the end of it. Not like
I mean,
as a person, but as a
yeah,
streaming entity. I don't wish he would die. Let me get that right out
yeah.
here. He has not done anything so bad that he should die. I just would rather he not exist as a streaming entity. Go into the business. You obviously know enough about how all of this works that you would be great in the industry. I bet you'd be wonderful at it. And you can do voice acting. I don't
I
know
mean,
if the last thing that he voice act really tells me he can, but
who knows at this point? I don't really care much about Ninja's career or wherever path it takes. Blah blah blah. But at the same time, like, dude, if just don't play games that make you happy, like this, if you don't want to play Fortnite anymore because people are like gunning for you because you're fucking Ninja, the person who put Fortnite on the map, then like, I mean, don't play it. Go play something else. Like, it's perfectly fine. You're not beholden to this. But at the same time, like, I don't know if going on stream and calling people that stream snipe you fucking clout chasers or fucking losers, like, it's not harming the game. It's just ruining your day. And
Yeah,
I understand having your day ruined sucks, but you're not bigger than the thing that you're playing.
yeah. At the end of the day, you're utilizing the game to have popularity. It is you found a thing that you can utilize to become a famous man. That game owes you fucking nothing. You owe the game. So if you want to go to a different game, it's understandable. I too, I imagine, would be real annoyed after the 300th time that somebody just watched my stream and sniped me. It'd be real annoying. But
Yeah.
it's hard to care from Mr. Ninja. That actually is our last story.
Oh, we missed one.
Did we? What did I miss?
E3.
Oh yeah, shit.
The big breaking one from today, other
Yeah,
than the
our
Anthem
breaking
news.
news that somehow accidentally scrolled right the fuck over. Thank you, Taylor Lyles from The Verge. E3 is looking to transform itself to become a digital showcase this year to continue the proud tradition of E3. Of course, the name has become less and less important in the gaming sphere, but I don't see E3 going away anytime soon. It still has enough clout to continue to exist. So there is no expectation right now that COVID will be handled in time for any summer convention to take place. The vaccine is definitely not going to be a wide enough distribution that something could happen. So, having it become a digital expo, I think, is the best thing that could happen to E3. What that will look like will be very interesting and actually make me more interested um, in the Sony what E3 does, what the ESA does with it and makes of it. So sure, neat.
I mean, it's for me. This just seems like a pipe dream in many ways because of some of the caveats that are attached to it. For one, um, the ESA has tarnished a lot of its reputation with a lot of people.
Mhm.
And over the years, most notably being the leaking of journalist info,
Yeah,
the huge giant leak there. But I don't know, like, yes, this feels like them scrambling to put something together for this year that feels somewhat like an E3, but different, which we got last year with the Summer Games Jam or the Summer Games Fest, that Jeff Keighley did. And it also should be noted, Jeff Keighley is not involved at all in this new virtual E3 idea.
yeah. When
Um,
Jeff Keighley is not involved, that worries me a lot.
mhm. So basically, what E3 would look like with this is like 3 days, all live streamed, like 2 hour keynote sessions, an award show, a preview night, and then a collection of streams from game publishers, influencers, and media partners. And also, apparently, they would let demos be available to consumers through like putting them on consoles, and then also other playable game demos would be streamed to the media members in what they refer to as quote thousands of scheduled meetings.
Mhm.
which would amount to those like backroom demos that they would give to media at E3 on the regular,
Yeah.
um, to help lead them through their stuff. But the main thing for me with this is that Keeley is not involved. And Keeley is not involved because he basically started a rival thing that does almost the exact same thing that the ESA is trying to do
Hmm.
with Summer Games Fest last year in the wake of there being no E3. And also the fact that any of the ESA is still charging like six figures for people, for like larger companies to kind of be involved in this and be attached to it. Which, um, if that's the if that's the case, like we've already seen so many other companies leave this thing. They don't need E3 anymore.
Yeah.
Like EA left it, Microsoft left it, Sony left it. Like all the giant, like who was going to participate in this? Like Ubisoft started doing the Ubisoft Forward presentations last year in the wake of all this stuff, and they've been fine with it. Like I just don't understand like who is going to devote the amount of money and time to be part of this whenever they've already established direct pathways of messaging to their respective audiences. You know, Also the fact that this idea is still just an idea.
Mhm.
It's all privy to approval from the ESA's members,
Right.
which who knows if that's actually going to happen. So I don't know. It's just so weird to me that this is the idea that they came up with, which is like exactly the same thing that other places are doing for the most part, outside of maybe the demo stuff. Um, but in a way that just feels almost behind the times, even though it feels behind the times, even though it's only like a year after all this stuff went
Yeah.
virtual and kind of splintered in a way. Like it doesn't feel like E3 is the place anymore.
Oh no.
It really doesn't.
No, it is still a thing, and there is still a lot to be gained and gotten out of E3. I still believe that it has a place in existing, but I do feel like we really have to see something new come out of the ESA. And the name has been so tarnished, especially after the controversy after controversy they have been in recently. They've been in controversies before, but rarely within, you know, the larger picture, right? The developers, the producers, the creators, they started having issues with their own people in their own sphere. I'm not saying the writings on the wall that bad things are going to happen. I don't believe so. I believe that there will be an E3 to continue for years, but they have to really figure out what that means to have an E3 that keeps going beyond 2021.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I guess this is the route you want to take it in a way,
Mhm.
but at the same time, everybody, like I said before, everybody's figured out they can do it on their own.
Yeah.
You don't need to have like one giant thing to reach the amount of people that you want to reach. Like, yeah, you won't get like like mainstream news covering like every Ubisoft forward going forward, but like who really goes to CNN for E3 coverage?
Yeah. And I've said it so many times before, but I will always continue to say it. My biggest concern is always, Devolver, please, please, please keep putting out. I don't care if it even is E3 related anymore. It doesn't have to be anymore. But that game that you put out last year was fucking glorious. It was great. Your presentations make E3 fun. Please, please continue to make a thing. I love you. Thank you so much for being your fucking weird self.
You know that a lot of the stuff in this statement already is giving Devolver a field
Oh
day with
yeah,
writing out what they're going to do.
so
Like
many
just the fact that
ideas.
they're still charging six figures for people to be a part of this.
Oi.
Oh, Lord.
So that is Mr. Video Games for February 8th, 2021, but of course we cannot end the day without having a Mr. Video Games. And I want to say real quick, there was something that I kind of wanted to be Mr. Video Games for a while. Just Control. This has been popping up on Reddit recently. Jessie from Control is somewhere between 5'8" and 5'10". She's normal human size. She is not a Gigantor. She will never become a Gigantor. Yeah, so Control wants you to know Jessie is a little tall for a woman, but she is also within the normal human height. She is not your goth vampire girlfriend who will step upon your neck and choke you.
So they actually tweeted out, "Stop."
Yeah, that's just literally what they tweeted out was just stop. And that's great. But the actual Mr. Video Game, of course, you know, every week we define something, someone, someplace that is so good, so bad, so ugly, whatever the hell it is that you have to look at and go, holy shit, that right there is video game in a nutshell. And this week's Mr. Video Game goes to a man that goes by the name The Brickster. Of course, with the Nintendo Giga Leak, some of the sound files, the original sounds, have been figured out and sampled, and people went out of their way to find the actual original samples that were used to make the music that goes into Super Mario World. So this man has gone out of his way to make a series of Super Mario World Restored. And I know I normally don't do music on this, but it's Mario World. I don't think they're going to care. And this is what Mario World would sound like from the original production of it. You can find it on his channel. Again, his name is The Brickster. He's put out a whole lot of Super Mario music. My favorite are actually the Yoshi tracks because that bongo they actually use is real crisp and sounds real nice. I strongly recommend giving him a look, and this is the most video game thing that is video game. I love it.
I keep meaning to go back and listen to this at some point, but I just keep slipping my mind because I want to hear like the non-compressed versions of those soundtracks, as I've heard so many different people being like, it just sounds too weird because it's like it's such high fidelity.
Yeah, hearing Athletic from Super Mario World played like real piano playing, it sounds strange. The one that like I think sounded better compressed, oddly enough, is the Fortress theme. They definitely have it on a very synthy sounding machine, and it actually sounds better to me with the choppy sounds they originally had. Now that might be nostalgia talking, but then again, like I think the Athletic theme sounds so much better in this mix. So I don't know, that it could or could not be just my nostalgia talking on certain tracks or not, but I don't like the way the Fortress theme sounds. I'll just say that outright.
I'll have to check it out.
But yeah, that is your video game for this day. And I'm just going to let the music play as we end out the show. This, of course, has been your Mr. Video Game for February the 8th, 2021. We'll be back tomorrow to finally finish talking about the Last of Us Part 2. So Part 3 of our Last of Us Part 2 discussion. And then next week we will likely bring back Thought Dub and talk about Pong. And of course Wednesday I'm going to stream some games.
Hell yeah. It's fun weekend stuff.
Yeah. Brian, you got any final words for us today?
I really hope that Mr. Video Games was going to be that Valorant tournament in Brazil where the final saw everybody get crashed out to lobby because the game went beyond 90 minutes. And anytime a Valorant game goes 90 minutes, it crashes because Valorant won't let games go beyond 90 minutes. It was a thing of beauty. Mwah. To see that Riot still has not addressed that issue in that game. Fix it, maybe. Other than that, though, you can follow me on Twitter at WonderboyOTM, and check out all. That's the best place to get updates on whatever I'm working on over there. A lot of my writing goes up on Outsports.com, and you can check out my queer pro wrestling podcast, LGBT in the Ring. You can follow them on. Check that out every Thursday. As part of the Outsports Podcast Network. Just search Outsports on your podcast service of choice. And you can follow the show on Twitter at LGBTRingPod.
Thank you so much for everything you do for us here, Wonder Boy, and of course to everyone who listens to the show. Spun, Nomi, Kelverin, all of our lurkers today. We look forward to chatting with you always, and we enjoy what show we put on here. I believe, actually, I'm going to remember to raid a channel, surprisingly enough.
Nice.
We'll
Oh,
raid...
also, since Meryl's not here, wash your hands, wear your mask.
Yeah, remember that there's still a fucking pandemic, Black Lives still matter, and don't be a dick, be a dude. Anyway, I'm going to raid Koala, because Koala's good, fun time lady. She's been on the channel before discussing, old cartoons, and, she is a fucking delight. So, let's go ahead and start that raid, coming up in 8 seconds. Thank you, everyone. Have a good night and a pleasant tomorrow.
Bye!
That was a perfectly timed bye.
Hell yeah.
Absolutely fucking hit it. Yeah. Alright, let me turn off this. Oh shit. I have too many things going.
Dead Son, how was the stream today?
Yeah. Not a bad
Look at
show.
this raccoon.
It's a shame
No.
Marilyn couldn't make it. She was
daughter,
feeling a little brain dead
What did
after
y'all talk
work,
about?
so...
Yeah, no, it's no worries. It happens. I mean, we held down the fort, got through
Alrighty.
everything.
yeah,
Wiggle wiggle kitty.
I
Wiggle, kitty,
definitely
wiggle.
like-
A lot of lawsuits. Interesting.
I definitely like having the three-person dynamic a lot better, but not having it is fine too. It's what I prefer, so whatever.
Yeah.
Well, no,
I
actually,
mean, it works
I think I do
for right
have
now. Shit.
a couple that
Sorry,
you might have
the
talked about.
one of the tabs on my fucking
Where was
wireless
that pigeon? I don't
keyboard
think I ever
just
picked
broke.
up a pigeon. Also, there's a
So now I
breakdancing
have to
cat
fucking
over
hot
here.
glue it,
If you haven't
or else my
seen
computer will be the
this
keyboard will
part
be
of the
lopsided.
game.
I'm
Was
upset.
the Gorilla Glue hair girl one?
I might just I don't know. This is
Yeah.
frustrating.
So this
Anyway,
is
Totally understand.
breakdancing
So
cat. Just endlessly spinning.
do we want to? I think so. We go back to Thought Dub next week. Is that fine,
so
or
much stamina.
yeah, totally fine.
okay? I'll have to do some research this weekend, but I got time, so it should be fine.
Yeah, and like I said, if you don't feel up to it, like like if you start doing research and you don't feel like
Is my party really only three
you hit a
people
wall
now?
or something, like we can
Hold
always
on.
like just go to like a game night thing
Yeah.
for that
3 people, I
Tuesday
say.
and then
3
revisit
animals.
Thought Dub the next week or something like that.
Yeah, I've
Maybe
just
like-
been
Where's
excited
your
to
cowboy
get
hat?
to
My
like
son.
Pong since we
your
started
hat?
because it's such a weird
Did I
thing.
need breakdancing cat? So the people
Yeah.
in the cat city, I can't
Okay.
actually pick up or
Okay.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to
They're
make
just
sure
kind
no
of, like,
pressure.
ambient.
Yeah, no
Uh,
worries. I guess I'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Denizens.
Yes, definitely.
I'm going to go do what coffee does, and I'll talk to you later.
Have fun.
All right.
But if you want to name
Bye.
Bye.
breakdancing cat red, you can. for your headcanon. There's the pigeon. Exactly, Shay, yeah. They're just kitties going about their business. Pigeon, 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 pigeon. Pigeon, pigeon, pigeon. Okay, I will. Natalie! Natalie! Oh, she can't hear me. Alright, was that all of them? Ooh, there's a bunch places I haven't been yet. Oh no, there's still 2. Okay. Wonder who they are. Yes, son. Crow. Caw, caw, caw. There are 2 you can find either? And I can't cross the invisible boundary. I wonder if they will be added in later, or if, like, there are certain conditions you have to meet. Found a sneaky cat in Heart Village, but can't get to it. Oh. Ooh, could they be on, like, the rooftops? Oh, Lily's tail just twitched. Oh, here's the arcade. I want to play the coin or the claw game. Oh, let me play. Sorry about the camera. Did you do it? Oh. The game will not let me talk to anybody. I like Lee too. I know several people named Lee, and they're all good people. So I have a positive, sort of prejudice. Is that a thing? Positive prejudice? I'm more inclined to like someone named Lee, based on my previous experiences with Lees. Yes, Red, if you want to put it that way. Alright, let's go find the flower expert. I have the feeling it's Poppy or his daughter. Crispy. I'm also gonna look at the rooftops for a cat. Cause like how wild would it be if you have to like glide onto the rooftops to find the cats? And yes, I appreciate seeing the like thought process. All right, let's see what kind of clothes we got going on. Excuse me. I would like to buy. buying those. What is that? A mouse tail. Oh. Gonna buy that too. Okay. Let's put on these overalls. Bottom? I love it. It's perfect. Overalls. Oh, I need to see if I can buy another chair. That's a sofa. I don't think it would count as a chair. They're selling the same thing. Okay. Oh, oops. All right, let's go see Poppy. Actually, let's look at the map. See where Poppy is. Oh, they're at the flower shop together. I'm going the wrong way. Is it over here? Is that where it is? Yeah. Hello? Poppy? Are you a flower expert? I mean, you've got them in your beard. Look at that. Oh, can't see anything but my son. Look at that, Poppy. Okay. What's the story, Morning Glory? Poison beach flowers? Oh my, yes. I encountered that myself recently. Clover Coast used to be one of my favorite napping spots. Oh, and to grab a few new flowers when I could. Can you clear the poison flowers? I would love to, but they wouldn't let me in. Said it was too dangerous to the public. I even showed them my badge to prove my flower authority. They said my badge was just a flower in my lapel. I said exactly. Hey, Lily. Yeah. It's good, Lily. You could try appealing to Mayor Kiva, though. She doesn't do much ordering people around, but she is technically in charge around here. Good thinking. Thank you, Poppy. Okay. Yes, having a flower on your lapel is the ultimate flower knowledge. Give it by your house. There she is. Alright, poison flowers. I forgot. Oh, I did the Kermit voice for her. So beautiful, so dangerous, so like us. I'm sorry, friend, but it's far too risky for you to handle them. Poppy sent me. Gasp, the father of flowers himself. Well, of course I trust Poppy. He's the one that identified the flowers in the first place. Oh, but that would be a huge project. And the island is all out of public funds right now. Maybe we could do a fundraiser? A bake sale? A pet wash? Cat Corporation also sent me. Gasp, the corporation of cats itself. Well, if they're footing the bill, then what are you waiting for? Go tell Poppy to start right away. Yay! Let's go! Good thing Poppy's so close by. Good to go on the flowers. For today, the Kermit Yoga emotes, they're from the Drawfee Discord, the Patreon Discord. Jacob from Drawfee drew them, and I think one of the members cleaned them up and turned them into emotes. Gosh, that's great news. Why don't you go call it a day and get some rest? I'll have those poisonous flowers gone before sunrise. That's the trick, you see. The best way to avoid angering the flowers is to sneak up on them while they're sleeping. Thank you, Poppy. Time to go, Sleepy. Clover Coast, here we come. Yeah, excited. Yeah, tomorrow, after a nap. Almost got stuck in a bush there. What was that? Oh, I think Aussie saw something. Okay, is this the basic display case? I'm gonna take that so I can hopefully oh boy. Sorry for yawning. Yeah, the basic display case, okay. Take that so I can give it to Steven? What was his name? Okay, looks like I have a mix of everything. Sweet, savory, and fancy. That's good. To the back of the cafe? What's going on back here? Oh, the side? Oh. Down here? Oh, ooh, kitty. Tiger. Look at Tiger.